Hi guys, this is Abdulaziz Lang again. Today we will be talking about the GDP and the most important KPI of any economy so far. What I want to know is why GDP is no longer enough. It's no longer a measuring unit. It's no longer a measure that truly matters. Let's see what is it GDP. GDP, which we also call gross domestic product, has long been the world's most widely used measure of economic success, right? That's what it happened. The government celebrates its growth, GDP growing, government celebrating. Investors monitor it closely because they feel it is a true indicator of an economy's economic growth or fall. And the policymakers often use it to judge the performance of an economy. We see it in every analysis, every talk show, every debate, every analysis that the government or the international monitoring agencies put forward. And always look GDP, GDP, GDP. The important question should be that should deserve our attention seriously. Does a growing GDP always mean that people are living better lives? Is that? Have you seen that? Have you compared it? I did. Look, GDP in simple terms, the book definition, that GDP measures the total value of goods and services produced within a country. And therefore, it becomes a very important indicator of any economic activity. But my question, it was never designed to measure human well-being. It never meant to understand social progress. It doesn't give any indicator or any information on the long-term sustainability of an economy, right? It doesn't. It says history based on historical data that economy is growing, but the reality is it doesn't say about many things of the economy. It's just a number. Let's take some example just to understand where I'm coming from. A country, for example, may experience a very strong GDP growth while income inequality continues to grow. So you can see the number growing, but also inequality, the class difference also growing, because GDP is taking care of whatever is produced, services and goods, and these are produced mostly high value items by the upper and elite class, the industrialists, the owners, not the largest middle class and the poor class. They don't. So the inequality, GDP growing means inequality keep on growing. The rich keep on becoming more richer. That's what it is telling. Otherwise, you can see even the biggest economy of US has a huge number, double-digit number of poor people who live on the road in their country also. I live in the UK and I see people sleeping on the footpath. They beg for the food. And the GDP is growing. GDP is fabulous. It's telling that this is a rich country. What rich? And also the corporates, the companies, they make profit. And their profit may reach to the record level. At the same time, young people struggle to buy homes, right? The healthcare, my favorite, healthcare, their spending become increasing because many people get sick, right? So the healthcare increasing, Why healthcare increasing? Because more people getting sick. That is telling me that despite GDP growth, the public health getting poor and poor. Rebuilding after natural disaster. It happens in many places. We say natural disaster happened, earthquake came, flooding happened, we start rebuilding. So when we rebuilding, it boosts the economic activity. Does it really help people? The communities have suffered devastating losses. Does the GDP says about that? Anything? It just say economic activity grow after the disaster. So we need a disaster to grow our economy. We need to depress people, put their lives into serious trouble, then economy will grow. Oh, GDP doesn't say that. Now I actually position of the economy. I mean, these examples do not suggest that GDP is wrong. Rather, they remind us as that GDP measures economic growth, right? Not economic outcomes. So the purpose of the GDP is different. It cannot measure the economy. It measures what economic output is, but don't call it economic outcome. Judging economy, it's just the GDP number is avoiding the fact on the ground. The 21st century economy is very different from the one in which GDP became the dominant indicator. It was? No. Because digital platforms provide enormous value that is difficult to capture fully. Difficult, right? It's very difficult. AI, the artificial intelligence, is transforming productivity, environmental sustainability, the institutional trust, and the social cohesion have become critical drivers of the long-term prosperity, not just the GDP. It used to be in the olden times, but not in this world where we are living. And people know that. The economics know that. Yet many national policy decision continues to be judged primarily by one number, GDP. A truly successful economy should be evaluated through a broader lens, not GDP. Alongside economic growth, we should also ask, are opportunities expanding for future generation? Is wealth being created in a sustainable manner? Are institutions becoming stronger and more trustworthy? Is innovation improving people's quality of life, or just increasing the wealth of already rich people? Are businesses creating long-term value rather than pursuing only short-term gain? We should ask these questions, and we should judge the economy by this, not one number. Economic growth remains essential. Without growth, the societies cannot create jobs, invest in infrastructure, or improving living standard. However, growth should be viewed as a means, not the ultimate objective. You see the difference? The real objective of an economic system should be to create prosperity that is inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. That's my take on it. This is what I am pursuing, convincing people, economists, the government. And as I continue developing these ideas in my upcoming book, I believe one of the most important challenge facing the policymakers is not simply how to grow economy faster, but how to measure the success more intelligently. Perhaps the future of economics does not require abandoning GDP. Perhaps it's required recognizing that what we measure ultimately shapes what we achieve. If you could add just one new national indicator alongside GDP, what would it measure and why? I look forward to your thoughts. I'm building it up and depending upon you. Please help me out and keep watching. Subscribe the channel and I'll keep coming with more of these ideas. Thank you, sir.